Well, welcome everybody. We are here at the Type Thursday Book Club, Season 1 completed. 15 books. I don't know how many rubrics we went over, how many chapters and pages we went over, but we did it. We went through in a span of, I believe, 2 months, 3 months. We went through 15 books in design in a broad range of topics and categories and ideas. And this is now a season recap of everything we've covered. So I think it's been a long journey. There's been a lot of reflections, and the purpose of this episode is to reflect together at the Type Thursday Book Club. I'm joined by Matheo from Type Thursday LA, who just completed his term of the chapter.
That's right. Hey, everybody. And Thomas, we judged, if you take 15 times 5, I just did the calculator, 75 different rubric criteria that we judged upon.
Thank you, Matheo. And I'm also joined by Michael Mondragon, the chapter lead of Type Thursday Phoenix, who just completed his term as well, actually calling in from not his usual location. He's in another state. Where are you at, Michael?
I'm in the first time in Nashville, Tennessee. So I got to go to the Hatch show print here. So I'm thrilled and being a part of Creative Pro Week. It's been a magical week of learning and discussion and typography. And I'm looking forward to this.
Very good. Wow. So because there's no book read this week, we have a different format, which is I went through basically analyzing all of our ratings of the last 15 books, and I have made a scatter plot of the top 3 and the worst 3 of each category with their average ratings from the 3 of us. So the format will be, we'll go through our review board based on those book listings. We'll have an initial discussion. I'll talk through what ratings I calculated through. And then what I use the power of AI. There's actually one good use, everybody, is that I had a review against, I had AI review against the average rating of books to outliers of one of us reviewing a book where there was a 1.5 point difference. So remember, we did a 5-point scale of 5 categories: clarity of concepts, typographic insight, practical application, visual inspiration, and overall impact. Whenever there was a 1.25% difference of an individual reviewer to the average of the group, that was picked out. We found the clip and we clipped it out. We're going to replay that clip live to you all and ourselves, and we'll let everyone talk through and rotate through our reflection of those outliers, dissidents, and surprises of our reviews in the first season. So with that said, we can jump right on in. So our very first one is clarity of concepts, how clear ideas and arguments are explained. In general, like I said, we did top 3 and bottom 3 are, I think probably the biggest standout to me is Don't Make Me Think got a perfect score from all of us. Every single one of us gave it a 5. It has a perfect score of 5. Meanwhile, the lettering manual from Ken Barber got a 4.7. So that's the average score from the 3 of us. And 7 Habits of Highly Effective People got a 4.79. These were our top 3. Meanwhile, our bottom 3 for clarity of concepts was typographic ideas, which had a 3.5. I think it must have been me. I must have really weighed that thing down. Inside paragraphs got a 3.3 average, and logos at last was our worst clarity of concepts of season 1 at a 2.65 average rating. Gentlemen, do we have any thoughts or reflections or objections of these averages?
Well, I think, logos at last really bombed in this category, unfortunately, because it, overpromised a lot throughout the book and just didn't provide the clarity that it was set out to provide from Allan Peters. But you would be surprised that that book is also a standout in visual inspiration because Allan Peters did a great job providing lots of visual references throughout the book, I felt like. So it's interesting to see those kind of different data points. And then for me, Don't Make Me Think. I would have thought 7 Habits scored higher for clarity of concepts. It's funny that it scored a little bit lower. I do remember some of those conversations around like, oh, maybe this is more geared for corporate culture in the corporate world. Maybe that's what left things a little bit vague but Don't Make Me Think is one of my all-time favorite books, and I love to see that it's out here. But
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the fact that the top 3 books were more actionable. I think that so there was probably a more cohesive plan of attack, whereas maybe the ones that fell to the bottom were more like observational, like we're trying to observe like the best parts of design and things like that. So maybe they didn't kind of show the way, but showing good examples of different things that they're trying to put in there. But yeah, I this was interesting too. It's I never looked at books in kind of the rubric that you put here. I always try to observe. Like I probably ranked these lower books high because like I get inspiration from visual things, and I can put 2 and 2 together. It doesn't have to explain it to me. So so maybe that's something too. But I love the rubric, and it actually makes me think about these books a little bit differently.
I have one objection. My objection is I think inside paragraphs, it's incredibly clear. So I'm throwing a reviewer objection that one is so low. Now, to be fair, I will say, because I'm the one who made these slides, like they build up the Fig Jam for this comment compared to other categories. Remember, these are the bottom 3. Even our bottom tier of our 15 books is basically floating at a 3, right? Like compared to other categories where, trust me, this is why visual data visualization is so important. Notice the boundedness of the 2 groupings of the highest and the lowest. They're pretty close together, actually. Generally they're bounded up around 5 and around 3 in this case. Actually, and even really pushing more towards 3.5, really. But with that said, I still take umbrage that inside paragraphs got dunked on this hard. So I will say that. But it is fun, by the way, that the lettering manual, that book was such an ambitious project. It's rather impressive that one held up so strongly in our review ratings. Because you would think, considering how much it was covered in that book, you would think it would get dunked on for not being rigorous enough or just covering way too much ground and not being systematic. This is a very respectable score considering that.
Agreed. Yeah.
Ken Barber knows his stuff. Yeah, he did a great job throwing it together in the lettering manual, and great book all around. So definitely get a copy.
Very good.
Andrea, who's in the chat, hi Andrea, joined us for Inside Paragraphs. So her joining us may have affected some.
Oh wait, was that the reason it got dunked on? I remember that.
Could have been. Yeah, could have been why.
Fair.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Hi.
So with that said, shall we transition down to our first clip segment? It's actually honoring Matheo. Yes. So, and actually specifically on, I think, the point you're making about you thought your promises of the book were not fulfilled. So, Michael, jump us over.
But it does not fully unpack the contradictions that come from his argument or reasoning. So, my take. Michael, you can jump in.
Sure.
Oh no, the clip is slightly off.
A
disaster.
It's very straightforward. It's talking about process, refinement, decision making. It's digestible, but not theory heavy.
Michael, that was meant to be.
Did I put the wrong one?
No, it is. It was at last. It's Michael. It was meant to be Michael there, not you. Not Matheo.
Oh, I got it. I think it's easy to follow, and if I were to be a seasoned designer like myself, or just wanting to get into this, I think that it's a very easy read, and also one that you'll definitely want to pick up if you're doing this type of work.
Okay, so with that said, so what I meant to put here, I apologize, was that Michael's contrast to Matheo, because Matheo came in and dunked hard on it. I think he gave it a 1.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah. That was cool to see though. Michael coming in at the opposition.
Apologies. Fun
Yeah.
times. Fun times.
Yeah, I mean, I still stand by that. Like, there's a big promise in the beginning of the book that I'm going to explain you my process, exactly how I get to these fantastic, beautiful logos. And I was like, I have mad respect for Allan Peters. His designs look great. Yeah, so I was like excited to see his inside scoop, and then just never really. There was no inside scoop. Yeah.
With that said, we are now at visual inspiration. And again, we had some strong outliers. And I got to tell you, lettering manual really came in strong in a couple categories. So in visual inspiration, strength and originality of visual material, both, he got a 5, perfect score from us. And so did Allan Lupton's Thinking with Type. That got a 5. And here's a fun move. So remember, typography idea was one of the bottom for clarity of concepts. But then, and kind of similar to Matheo, like Michael was talking about in the last segment, about sometimes visual inspiration, clarity of concept can swap. This is a case of it. It was our top 3 because it got a 4.9 average. Meanwhile, on our bottom 3 visual inspiration, it's basically all the non-visual books, right? So Design of Everyday Things, 1.8. This is Strategy, 1.3, and Ruined by Design, 1.1. Generally, and I think especially a lot of them, I remember especially with Design of Everyday Things, we absolutely dunked on it for, well, actually, that's more of a typographic layout. We really figured it out. But in terms of its visuals, the lack of visuals, this is what I meant by, like, you notice the difference between clarity of concepts, which had a much tighter bounded of data points of high and low. This one is a much wider spread, right? We have ones much more towards the 1 and all the way to the 5.
Yeah. It's interesting that, design books at all would land at a 1, a ranking for visual inspiration, because you think like, oh, design book, it must be visual in some way. And it could be. It totally could be. I think there would be ways to bring in visuals into those books, all 3 of them, especially the Design of Everyday Things, just more visual examples of those things. And but yeah, it was just kind of sad that like the authors didn't quite deliver on the visuals there. Given the subject matter. And then I was really impressed with Allan Lupton's Thinking with Type. I think that book really blew me away as like one of the all-time favorites from the season. And same with the lettering manual. Yeah, I think those, but Allan Lupton's Thinking with Type, I felt more relevant to us as like Type Thursday audience, whereas like we don't really focus, we're not as focused on lettering, we're focused on typography. So it just felt more relevant there. But the lettering manual being very inspirational nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, there's a big gap in here. You could drive a truck right through it, right? But I think that these low ratings definitely don't disparage from these books. I think that that's the one thing that we have to say here. But as far as what we're looking at it for, it didn't have those elements that we were looking for. Yet, the Design of Everyday Things is all about, things in the world, and how you look at them and how they function in the world. So where it may not have been visual, it definitely had an impact in like changing kind of thought about how you do create things that are be in the world that make a difference, and how does that happen? So again, I said I love all these because it just brings up a whole bunch of great discussion that we might not have had otherwise.
I think for me, the lettering manual especially, we were losing our minds on the production. Like we were losing it.
Yeah.
The papers, the varnishes, the finishes. It was like a tour de force of every aspect of the visual quality of the book. So while I don't disagree that, Allan Lupton's is much more directly in type and lettering, while it is letter form based, so it is related to Type Thursday. It is not like directly, it's more adjacent than directly at home. Because of its focus on production and the visual quality of everything about the materiality of that book, it really was, I find, a real tour de force of just an entire experience. Compared to lettering manual, you look at that book and experience of that, and then you go to, and then by the way, typography idea, it was laid out so beautifully, right? The layout, the trim size, it was a real aesthetic experience compared to paperback books. Just here you go, just a flop paperback 6x9, have fun. Just read the book and get the ideas. It's like I think what this huge disparity of presentation showing us is that there are books that are, quite frankly, again, if you're thinking about it, like I'm a beginning designer, I want to start reading because I think it's important to build my taste and my sensitivity and judgment. Probably maybe the books in the top 3 here are a good place to start, right? So you don't have to deal with the words. You can get the visuals and kind of work with that first, and then you can kind of work your way as you mature in your career towards, I think, the insights you'll get from the bottom 3. Like, these are not to say they're bad books, they're just simply to say that if you're looking for that kind of ease intro, if you're a beginner, or you're getting your feet wet into reading as part of your educational experience, probably this could be a good distinction to consider.
Yeah, for sure. I own most I'm almost positive I own all of the House Industries books. And the one thing that I love about them is, like, for instance, like when you buy them early, you actually get like more out of them because they all have like these really special sleeves that they go into and special covers and stuff like that. So later on, when I do the paper cover versions of it, they're still great and they're awesome. But like when you first get them before they come out, they have some even better ones. So it's like that. Maybe that's, I'm a little swayed whenever these are in the discussion.
Now I want to go read your House Industry books, Michael.
Oh my God, they're amazing. Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of which, we got Michael again.
Oh, yeah.
Please let this link work. Please. I'm really upset if my links do not work.
Oh, let's move on to the next one.
Sir, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'm trying to do 2 things at once right here. So we're on visual inspiration. I mean, this is where this book truly shines. I mean, I'd be remiss if I gave it anything lower than a 5. It's one of, I mean, House Industries is like one of those like just brands that just it really nailed everything that I was trying to do as a branding designer. And the great thing about it is it also like brought in a lot of history as well. And a lot of the things that I found out that I loved about, lettering was, making something timeless, making something of the period. And, when you say tiki look, like we can visualize it as artists, what that looks like, but in a typeface to make that and then make other typefaces off of that and just keep on going and going and going. And then they had a crew of designers that were all kind of very like-minded. And it gave me so much visual inspiration to be better at my craft and refine my letter forms to be more like that. So I again, and also, the fact that they also made a lot of, a lot of the surprise things, the like little pictures, that you would have to buy the fonts to get those. And they were such like little Easter eggs when you got them. So it got me more into what fonts and typefaces could be.
Yeah, I think the history aspect, and just again, the rigor of the history section. I think especially what I remember that was the exercise of the style matching, like blending 2 different lettering styles together. I think those were a really great visual inspiration moments.
Love it.
And we got Mateo's commentary on Ellen Lupton. Again, Matheo really loved it, so let's jump into that clip.
Sure.
These are totally along the same lines as what I'm thinking, so I'm just going to slap this right on, I guess, up here. We all rated this a solid 5 because Ellen Lupton, you did a wonderful job at putting together so much visual inspiration. Out of all the typography books that we've read, I feel like the spreads that are in this book are absolutely gorgeous. The references, not just the historic references, but the current and modern as well. And I felt like that's something that Ellen did really well. She did a great job because you get things that are old history, like so, but then she's giving you also breakdowns with how even I think it's the Chinese kanji and the Japanese kanji compare to the Latin word and how it's made and structured. So I thought that was absolutely outstanding. Where other books felt like for me, Robert Bringhurst type elements of typographic style, or when we did Seven Habits, and there wasn't a lot of visual inspiration in those books. Specifically for Bringhurst, he doesn't give you a lot of visual inspiration. Where that was lacking, Ellen made up for it in this book. So I think this is a great introductory text to your typography journey or to your graphic design journey. If you want to start somewhere, you could absolutely start here and learn a ton and get very visually inspired. Yeah, that would be a great book to like start your career with, I think, in graphic design. Lots of great visuals there to sort of support the learning and the technical nuance. Yeah. Allan's a great author.
And I think I threw in the third one just because I want to give it all the lower rates. I think I wanted to throw in a third one with me as well. So we got it.
Sure.
With Thomas, street buff in the room. Woo!
All right, so visual inspiration. All right, so I feel like
With my frozen camera. Because I haven't seen the
frozen
episode.
camera.
today, this guy got a 2. The reason why,
Yeah.
again, when I talk about visual inspiration, this is in the
Oh.
context of how we're rating this to the other books. This is not a portfolio book. You're not coming in to get dazzled by great work and a great execution of layout and all that good stuff. It's not a visually exciting book. But his visuals do help explain its point. So that is valid. That's why it's not a 1. Like, it is useful. You will be inspired to think through the ideas of this book by what's been shown you visually in this text. But you're not going to get like bamboozled with amazement of, say, Martina, Ken Barber, for example. It gives you a lot to think about, but not much to look at. I had to summarize the point.
There you go. I think probably because all you guys give it a 1. I think that's probably what happened here.
Yeah. That's right. You kind of contradicted us on that one. I think that's what it was. Yeah. A
There you
little
go.
standout.
All right, so now we're at practical application. How useful is it for teaching or professional practice reading these books? So again, this is the top 3 and bottom 3. We got some patterns, repetition here, right? Don't Make Me Think, 4.96, 7 Habits, 4.8, and Allan Lupton's Thinking with Type with 4.3. Meanwhile, for the bottom 3, Logos at Last, 2.3, Inside Paragraphs, 2.36, and This is Strategy, 2.2. So we're getting some patterns here happening. Thoughts?
Yeah. I think if you're going to be looking at what books to pick up for your design career that are really going to support you along your journey, I mean, these 3 you can't go wrong with. Don't Make Me Think, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People applies to all your life and career. And then Allan Lupton's Thinking with Type. And then, Seth Godin, great writer, great author, but unfortunately the practical application just wasn't there. You need a lot of other knowledge to be able to put that book to use. Alan Peters, great designer, wonderful visuals, but unfortunately it just doesn't apply. I didn't see any way to say like, take this and apply it now. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that so usefulness for teaching or professional practice was, that when you apply it to those, I mean, these make complete sense, and I understand why we came to this consensus and why these, went to the top and these other ones went to the bottom. You're right about the inside paragraphs. It's I think we might have to like reassess that one at some point, or revisit it. Or wasn't that one that had like an update or something like that? Or I didn't know. There had to be something.
There was a
some
second
other
edition.
tangible thing about it. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I think that again, no short shrift. I enjoyed all these books, but I think for what we were looking at them for, they ranked low.
is what it is. This is the ratings, and you can have disagreements with it. Again, I do think Inside Paragraphs got short shifted on this one. In my opinion. But with that said, but I think it is telling is the repetition that if we went up to look at visual inspiration and practical application and clarity of concepts, the fact that we're seeing the same top 3 show up probably tells everybody that basically, if you didn't want to read all 15 books, what top already you can kind of almost predict what the top 3 you should read are these 3, right? Because they're coming up in cross categories. And again, we want to be fair as opposed to visual inspiration where our bottom 3 were at the 1s, right? This is again more towards the 3. So again, even our worst 3 books rated in practical application were still basically around a 3, right? So slightly below. So it's not necessarily catastrophes in terms of being absolutely useless in the professional career. It just simply takes more work. It's very specialized knowledge. You have to build on from prior knowledge. Or I do stand on the opinion that Logos at Last is a portfolio book. Nothing wrong with it, but that's what it is. Like I think any other understanding what that book is not reasonable.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, fair assessment.
Oh yeah, that's why I came in super strong on this. I was like losing my mind. I'm like, everybody needs to take this book. Everyone has to read this book. I'm like going nuts about it. I think that's what this club is me going or saying.
I've done it in my professional practice classes. I signed this book. I've done readings from this book. So I think every educator, if you're an educator watching this and you have a professional practice class, like with the portfolio review and getting everything ready for that, you should be assigning chapters from this book and having discussions with this book. You'll do your students a lot of favor. You'll do them a big favor in their career if you do this early.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. A great compliment.
I still stand on that.
Yeah, it's completely like non-design book, but it's also at the same time applies to designing, like how do you design a successful life, career for yourself. Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree.
All right, typographic insight. The depth of typographic thinking, if applicable. And this is a case where we added like the strongest difference showed up on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like lumped in and I'm happy Bringhurst is here. Shout out to Bringhurst. Both of those got a 5, perfect score. And lettering manual, 4.96, not very far behind, quite frankly. So I do appreciate Bringhurst came in with a strong typographic insight, coming in strong. Meanwhile, our bottom 3, how not to be a graphic designer losing your soul, got absolutely dunked on. I think I will be fair. We were talking before we started recording that this is a case where some criterion did develop in their understanding, where I noticed instead of the content of thinking about meant type of thinking, it wasn't just like explicit language about type. It was about like how you use type, the typesetting, for example, would be talked about. So like basically the book was really badly typeset. The judges us reviewers were absolutely dunking them on it. So I say that because Logos that how not to be graphic designer not losing your soul. 100%, all of us hated the reading of the typesetting of that book. That was 2010s aggressively so. Meanwhile, this is strategy got a 1.3, and Room by Design got a 1.03. So basically, it was like tied towards the bottom on typographic insight. So it was either badly typeset or had no content whatsoever about typography. Thus, why huge gaps.
Yeah, and this is one where the typographic insight of the elements of typographic style really stood out because the book itself was such a like pleasant read. Like the words sort of dance off the page and the way that it was designed. So the book itself is a case study on how to apply all the knowledge you're learning typographically, running headers, wide margins, using the golden ratio as far as their layout goes, what's a comfortable book to hold in your hands. It was just great. Yeah, just put all these things to practice. Whereas like how to be a graphic designer without losing your soul, unfortunately, really long measure, so the paragraph width was just so long that it was like your eyes were just tired following the lines, and that just drug on every page, and you didn't get a lot of breaks. And the other two books just very plainly typeset, where it was just kind of like, yeah, well, nothing designy here, no insights there. Yeah. Also, they didn't cover typography, so they were just talking about maybe design and in their own right, but really no typographic insight.
Yeah, and we're practicing what we preach, here about making our readers work is not the goal. It's make it easier, and it's unfortunate because it ranked low, so it lost the message, ultimately. So it didn't matter like what it said. It's like it took us so long to do it. That's why one reason why we might have started marking it down immediately. So again, that's what we're all about, showing what great typography can do, and it can even improve a message that's mediocre probably. So or make it at least interesting to read. These honestly, they're very, very in line with what I remember this episode being about.
Very good. All right, let's see what our clip is for this section. Oh, there we go. We got Michael here for what was that last? Let's see if I'm right. I'm a little paranoid now with the links.
Yeah, for this one, unfortunately.
Okay, I think we're good.
And Michael.
So this is where I actually give it. I'll give it a medium mark. I'll give it a 3. And I could have gone lower, but the thing that I did notice about this is that it wasn't typographic heavy, and it does lack in that realm, especially under this criterion. But I even mentioned it with the stars and the N. Like, that's brilliant, the way that he put that together. And I think that also shows a lot of typographic insight and knowledge, and also a lot of skill. So where it doesn't have the insight, I took away from it the way that I can use letters and negative spaces and shapes in my work. So that's where I fell in the middle. Like I said, I could have given it a lower score, but I saw the inspiration in it because of the work I do.
Nice.
I do remember the exact layout when you're talking about, because I did remember that too. It was an N with a star. It was very good. I do remember that.
Yeah, the Minnesota North Stars is kind of a rebrand. Even that team doesn't even exist anymore, which is a shame. Like, someone should use it. It's amazing.
Yeah, because that logo is fantastic. Uses the Gestalt principles, which I think is what got us all excited. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a good contrary point, because Thomas and I just dunked on it as far as
we were like, exactly.
Yeah.
Very nice use of AI for this to get us to pull this book for us. Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. So let's move on down. Oh, I got another one from me. Nice. I forgot who was going to put me in.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a little surprising, I guess, considering I think everybody gave it a 5.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
I cannot contest anything that's being said. I mean, here we'll see if we show the drama. I mean, this is clearly a 5. Look. This book is an entire typographic education in one book. Like, if you cannot if you cannot get a mentor, and you cannot get to a design, like, that's the thing too. It's not even like you go to, like, this is the ideal wish for a typography class. If you had your typography class to be this articulation of historical genealogy, typographic technology, and the history and development of it, and poetic sensibility of language blended together into one class, this book is like the ideal of that. That's the wish. Now, as Matheo hinted at, does that ever happen in typography classes? Absolutely not. It doesn't happen, and there's lots of reasons for that. It's extremely difficult doing that. I think even the best design programs in the world can maybe get to this. It takes usually multiple typography classes of multiple, at least 3, to even start getting to what Bringhurst is trying to communicate in this text. That's how dense this text is. It's basically 3 or 4 typography classes compressed into one book. It's crazy. So as a result, it's an encounter that's almost impossible to actually experience in education, at least from what I've seen and talked to colleagues about. But it's always our wish. If I feel like any educator who's trained typography really deeply wishes they could do a class around this book. And there you go. I still stand by that 100%. I still stand by that decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I threw a comment in there. The type Bible has stood the test of time.
Test of
'Cause-
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this book with Lupton
Ooh.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and 7 Habits. Oh, actually, on that note, we're actually closing our last section. Overall impact, basically
Oh, yeah.
the lasting relevance and influence in the design field. Now, here's a shocker in the top 3. In a mighty last episode, I think it was one of our second to last episode.
Yep.
Right. So Bringhurst is here. Everybody went freaked out. This is like the best. 7 Habits also got about a 5 in this category. And then The Stroke, super niche typographic folk, like type design oriented, got a 4.87. So right at the very end, just kind of jumped in and got there in the top 3 for overall impact. Meanwhile, a very dispersed bottom 3. We have at the very dead last, Logos at Last, which is very ironic because the title is Dead Last. But anyways, 2.3. Then we have Inside. Again, I'm like kind of upset that Inside Paragraph just got his
For real,
butt.
as I said, yeah.
I'm a little upset about this. At a 3.5, and then How to Be a Graphic Designer Without Losing Your Soul got a 3.07. Again, I will show my umbrage that Inside Paragraphs got beat up this hard. I don't feel bad that Logos at Last got beat up. So that's my commentary on that.
Yeah, again, I think we should bring it back for another round. I think it deserves another look, because maybe like for what we were looking at it, I'm not even too sure of like what were we so harsh on it about. I don't remember what the contention was. I have to really maybe even go back to that episode, because yeah, you're right. It shouldn't. Actually, it ranks in the middle, which is actually the thing that it could have been better, but it wasn't. It could have been worse. I don't know. That's a very interesting question.
Yeah. Are we talking about Logos at Last or Inside Paragraphs, Michael?
Inside Paragraph.
Inside Paragraphs.
Oh, Inside Paragraphs. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has
that's
any contention about Logos at Last. I don't think anyone has.
Yeah,
any
there's no
contention
contention,
about
right?
that.
Yeah. Yeah, Inside Paragraphs, I'm a little fuzzy on. I remember it's because the way he examined paragraph building and paragraph structure, we all agreed that like without any typography experience, without any design experience, you would just be lost and have no clue what he was talking about. Like, because it was the way the author was approaching examining paragraph structures and layout. Yeah, it was just like looking at shapes and blocking shapes. It was an interesting approach, but yeah, it just kind of fell interestingly like in the middle on a lot of categories. Yeah. For overall impact, I definitely agree. The Type Bible, which is Robert Bringhurst, Element to Typographic Style, a solid 5, and has forever changed the industry and will continue to. And 7 Habits, of course. It's one of my all-time favorite books. I'm glad it landed here for our design rankings as well.
Very good. All right, let's see what clip we got.
Hey.
Hey, there
No,
you go. We got good times. Hit the clip. I'm feeling confident now.
Yeah. It's funny that these clips are coinciding with our commentary naturally.
Can't disagree. I think these are all valid points. Onward.
Woo. Here we go. Alrighty, fam. So on overall impact, I think I had another flag for one of this for overall impact. Again, the 7 Habits, the overall impact of this book is profound. We're looking at lasting relevance. We're looking at influence and on the design field. If you, again, are an educator or you're a business owner, you're a design studio, you're a freelancer, or you're working solo or with teams, this book can have a major impact on your design practice and make you a better designer individually or team player collaboratively and manager, right, as an executive or creative director. So with that, I'm bringing myself right in at a strong 5 for overall impact.
And there you go.
Nicely
So,
said.
very, very well said, Past Matheo, and very well said also, President.
I like how it took
And-
us through the levels of like career, like individual contributor, manager, director, executive, and it's like, yeah, this book will help all of you, all those
all
levels.
levels of it. Totally
Yeah.
agree. Well, highly recommend it. Everyone go watch that episode if you want to know what we're talking about. Oh, I have a nice bonus. Oh, nice. And I guess we felt bad. I guess I must have threw in also logos at last because I'm like, we keep beating it up and want to find out. But this is the case where Michael came in with the Descent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see the clip.
Mhm.
Michael.
No, it's my one. I'm already crushing this book.
I love that I have this on my shelf as a branding designer, as someone who does this type of work all day, every day. And I'm going to give it a 4. And, your points are valid, Thomas, 100%. And also, Matteo, I can understand where you're coming from on this one. I guess maybe I wasn't looking as deep into it as trying to get more out of it, because I was super inspired by what I was seeing. And I think that that's also something too. If I had written this book, would I be proud of the work that's in it? Yes, 100%. And it's what I aspire to do if I were to ever do a book. My body of work, I feel like, is bigger than me. So that's why I loved it. And so, like, I'm definitely giving it a 4 out of 5.
Hey, Michael, how do you feel about that rating?
I still stand behind it because these are the books that are on my shelf. And when I look at all of these books, especially now, I'll even say, because even speaking at Creative Pro Week this week, a lot of my things that I'm talking about these days, for some reason, it's being kind of heralded as refreshing. That all of these things, all these principles, all this old school mentality is refreshing in this day of AI and just, let's get back to making stuff. But these are the books and these are the things that are on my shelf that inspired me to be an artist. So for that reason, like, I have no shame in that.
I like that, Michael. Yeah, absolutely right. And having pride in, like, where you came from and your source inspiration and the things that, like, inspired you to get to where you are now, especially because you have the branding experience. This book is really good if you're someone who's interested in branding. Yeah, it's going to strike a good chord.
Yep. And I get it. I get it if people didn't see the same thing I did. But it's I feel like it's the same thing as bands. It's like, I hate that band. It's like, nah, I love this band. Like, I don't know what it is about them.
To be the contrarian, be the resident hater of the reviewers, I have to say, why not some Soul Bass, some Paul Rand? Let's get some solid, give me some mid-century graphic design.
Yes. I'm only commenting on what was presented in front of me. So when we get Soul Bass, I'm gonna gush over that too.
Very good. Very good.
Awesome.
All right. So I think this, I can't remember now if I have any more. Do I have any more segments?
I think it is. It is.
We're done. Okay. So, gentlemen, what are our thoughts? I mean, after we've done all these books, we've been all this time together. What are our reflections and thoughts of the season recap?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I mean, looking back at all of the books that we crammed in 15 weeks, we really grinded through design books. It definitely gave me a new perspective on design and my work and the way I approach problem solving and creating, and a lot of inspiration as well. So I feel pretty excited for my career again and rejuvenated creatively, in ways that I hadn't been for a while. Just kind of coasting, for, after school, working, and then just grind through the work. It was nice to kind of revisit these books and the subject of design at large, right? And we did it from different angles, like with 7 Habits, the typography idea book, Ellen Lupton Thinking with Type, to Logos That Last, and Martina Flor's lettering, Ken Barber's lettering. So we just we got a lot of different angles to look at the design world from. Yeah, felt good.
Yeah, I was excited because also I didn't know what this was going to look like and how it was going to play out. But Thomas, you definitely shaped this in a very interesting way. And I think that the strength of the 3 of us made this even more intriguing because we didn't agree all the time. And I think that that's the one thing that, again, it goes back. I mean, this is a bigger world thing, but it's we had discussions about things, but we could still disagree. But also it made me rethink also some things. I go, yeah, well, I never considered that. Or, Matheo doesn't teach. So it's Thomas and I are talking about how we would teach this or what the advantage is of having this knowledge. So I think that it actually, we all have that different kind of synergy. And I'm excited about, season 2. I know Andrea is asking when that is. We'll say it, but and that was another thing too, having Andrea and Zach as guests on brought in a different perspective. And I was talking with someone today, or a group of people today, saying that we do this book club, and everybody that I tell this to, they're saying that's such a great idea. And it's because I think people have forgotten about books, about talking about books, and really using books as resources for doing this type of work. So I'm encouraged that we can put that out there and show that we. And I also use this in my talk. Michael Beirut said, "I don't trust hiring designers that aren't enthusiastic about reading," and I am enthusiastic about reading because it gave me an extra edge and perspective on design.
Because Type Thursdays is a meeting place for people who love type, right? And I think every reason I was so excited about this was that, there's a long tradition of books as a way of building community, right? That people, by the community, people reading a book and having joint attention, reading a book together, even when they disagree and have different perspectives, that it gives a space of joint attention. So that if you can't be in person together at Type Thursday events to get the Type Crit experience and see dialogue in that way, I've been very impressed by this experience of doing the book club and getting the insights and perspectives from both of you two. You all add your expertise, you add to the equation, and some of them in very radical different ways than me in many cases. But then also there's the people watching the clip, watching the books, the videos, or in the commentaries like Andrea coming in, or guest reviewers who came in. I think I'd like to see more of that next season. I think that was really rewarding as well.
Yep.
So I was very excited about it because I think building community and building cultivation of talent and insight is a key mission at Type Thursday from the very beginning when I started this 10 years ago plus. So I find that the book club has been a very organic and natural extension. And I'm very thankful to work with both of you this past season. It's been really rewarding for me personally.
Thank you. Feelings definitely mutual.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. It means a lot. Yeah.
So with that said, I mean, there's no clips. There's no, we're a little out of format or normal setup. So there's no subscribe and like our channel and go to Type Thursday LA. But that is coming up. We do know on July, I believe, if I remember correctly, July 30th is Type Thursday LA, if I remember correctly, on my head. And I do hope if you're in the Los Angeles area, you go check it out. And I know, remember, Type Thursday chapters or local areas brought by people like you who love type and want to bring type to your community. So definitely be sure to reach out to either bring Type Thursday back to Phoenix, right? So the next chapter we can take over there, or any of the other cities we've had chapters. We're always happy to have more people bring back chapters or new ones to Type Thursday. So to close out our session, I want to thank again Matheo and Michael for their time and attention, and all of you, and especially Andrea, our comment queen, coming strong with the comments.
Yes.
That's not space to read because it's Yes, very nice, very good. Yes, Andrea, I always appreciate your comments, very great, and Michael Matheo for your contributions so far, and you everyone watching us along the way. So everybody, thank you so much. We will be in touch. Hopefully, we will be releasing, planning, and executing season 2 forthcoming. And I look forward. Everybody have a safe and great summer break. All right, everybody. Thank you for your time. Later.